Oh, hello. Today we are talking about what I've read so far in the month of May. Doing it a little earlier than I normally would, but it's how the timing worked out. And we're also going to do a little bit of housekeeping, some announcements, etc. at the end for those of you who care. So, May has had a lot of books that I've really enjoyed. However, I think that I have not done a great job of pacing myself genre-wise. This is one of the things I always tell people to avoid slumps / to read more and keep your pace up, is to mix up books in terms of genre and length and format. It just helps kind of keep you more engaged. And because of a vlog I was doing, which you guys have seen by now, reading the Goodreads recommendations for Mystery Thriller Week, I read a lot of mystery thriller, most of which I really enjoyed, but I kind of got mystery thrillered out because I was not doing a very good job of pacing myself. So I think we're close to being fully corrected from that, but that sort of was a weird moment of disjointed pacing little spurt I had there. So we're getting back on track. I guess maybe we'll just start with those books. So, of these that I have in physical form, I'm gonna talk about Moonflower Murders as a hit at the end of the month, as well as Never Saw Me Coming, so hold off on those. If you want to see my reaction in real time, you can go check out that vlog. But we can talk about these three real quick. So, first of all, Farthing by Jo Walton is, I would describe this as a alternative history mystery. Basically because in this scenario of this world, basically instead of standing up to the Third Reich in 1941, a bunch of the upper crusty political class of Britain ousted Churchill and made a peace with them. So basically all of Europe is now the Third Reich, and then Great Britain is still Great Britain, but there is, shenanigans on the horizon, and our main character is married to a Jewish man, and while Jews are not in quite the same situation that they are in the Third Reich, they're still, at this point, basically considered to be second-class citizens. They go to a country house weekend at her parents' house, who are part of that upper crusty group, and someone is killed, and they're trying to pin it on her husband. So I think, honestly, this is a really high quality book that if I had read it when it first came out, I probably would have enjoyed more. A lot has happened in the world in the last 8 years that makes this, flirtation with fascism a little too resonant for me. So I just think in terms of what I want from this kind of book, this was just a little bit more serious and a little more ooh. But this is very high quality, and apparently this is the first in a trilogy. So if you like this book, there's 2 more after it. I think in a different world, I could have definitely seen myself continuing in the series, because I think that this is really, really well written, good characterization. All of it was a good book. It just was not meeting me in my moment, which is a huge part of reading, is sometimes it's just about what mood you're in, etc. So appreciated this, but wasn't a favorite just because of the state of the world and my own life experiences. In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, I really enjoyed this. I think if you are looking for something, this is not at the same literary level as The Secret History, but if you were somebody who read that and thought, I either like this, but it's a little too literary for me, or I liked this and I like literary fiction, but I'm looking to get more into sort of mystery thriller, I think this could be a next good book, because it is set on a college campus. It does have this sort of very incestuous group of friends with lots of secrets and lots of interpersonal dynamics, but it is much more decidedly a thriller, like a mystery thriller, than The Secret History is. The Secret History definitely has that element, but I think it's more literary, so it's a little bit more focused on being a kind of character study type thing, but it has a lot of the same vibes. And yeah, I don't know that I think that this was indicative of the fact that I was starting to get thrillered out. I don't know that I emotionally connected with this as much as other people did, but I thought that this was really good. So yeah, I definitely like this one. And then The Escape Room. I wasn't as convinced of sort of the characterization bits of this. I think a lot of the characters were kind of flat, but I really enjoyed the kind of mystery thriller this ended up being, and I really enjoyed the ending of this. I really liked where it went. It's a dual timeline, and I think what you're being pitched is the escape room, and that's such a comparatively small part of the story. So I think just in terms of where I was most engaged with the story, it just wasn't as big of a piece of the book. But if you're looking for something that's just entertaining, and I really like Megan Golden's writing, I really like her themes in her books from what I've read so far, I think this was super fun. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one, and she is, I think, becoming an auto, maybe not an auto buy, but an auto try author for me, because I've been enjoying what she does. And if you want to see full thoughts, full rundown, you can go check out that vlog. I'll have that link somewhere. The book I did not enjoy and DNF'd was The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. So I was inspired to give this one a try because the House of Salt book club picked this, and I was watching their live stream, and the way they were talking about this, I was like, ooh, this has been on my TBR for a long time, and you're making me less and less interested in it. And so I was like, you know what, while I'm thinking about it, I should go give it a try. I clearly did not pay very much for this book. If I don't like it, then it's fine, I'll just DNF it. And I just think that this is very of its time, 2013. I think that, I just think that this isn't a great example of urban fantasy that I love. And there was a period there where, that was like a really hot genre. So I think a lot of books kind of bubbled up when that was happening. And I just don't know that this is one that like really should persist beyond that moment of time. We'll just put it that way. This wasn't egregious, but I was like, ooh, based on what they were saying, if the rest of the book is like this, which it sounds like it kind of is, this is just not gonna be for me. So I DNF'd this at 50 pages. Going back to the used bookstore. Yeah, that's part of reading, is sometimes things are just not going to work out, and this one just did not work out. Can I tell you about, okay, I'll just tease, I've got a secret theme vlog going, and for it I have read 3 books this month. I read We Ride Upon Sticks by Quan Berry, I read The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, and I read My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. And you'll find out more about that in a vlog next weekend. I think that vlog goes up next weekend. That sounds right, like this coming Sunday. Some of you already know what that is, but look for that. Ooh, what else? Okay, I'm in progress on a lot of things. I'm trying to think of what all I finished. So I finished Red Famine by Anne Applebaum, which is about a horrible period of Ukrainian history where basically under Stalin, to essentially kind of like help break the spirit of Ukrainians, this smaller scale food scarcity situation was exploded. And it's I had never heard this story before. I think if I'm remembering rightly, like 5 million people died during this famine, and it's awful. And it's just a reminder that one of the most dispiriting things about having historical awareness is just the knowledge that you're never going to know all of it, because there's just so many things that have, so many wonderful, but also so many horrible things that have happened throughout human history. And we are all kind of bound by our own time and place and what our teachers choose to emphasize with us, and our own country's history, our immediate surroundings history. Anyway, this is just a reminder that this was not that long ago. This was in the 30s. I had not really heard about this. I was aware, one thing I've known about Ukraine is that it's sort of the breadbasket of Europe, beyond the importance of its being its own country. And so just kind of learning a little bit more about how Stalin used that during the 30s to move the chess pieces on the board of politics of that era at the expense of 5 million people is pretty wild. Anna Applebaum it's so hard because I hear her on a lot of podcasts, and she's such an interesting thinker. She's a very careful historian. It's clear she is truly an expert in this region. I struggle with her writing. This is the second book I've read from her. I also read Iron Curtain from her. In both cases, it's like they're going for a lay audience. It's meant to be widely consumable history for people to read. But I just find the writing kind of cold in a way that I would expect from a text aimed not at a lay audience. So it's hard for me to kind of get in the swing with her, because it's kind of tonally neither fish nor fowl. So I wish I could quantify it better than that, but there is something about her writing that just never fully connects for me. So the information in this was great. It was a very well done book. It just didn't connect with me in the way that some histories just do. This one didn't quite do that, but it was a very interesting book. Picked it up because it is one of the book Comuna reads for May. Yeah, I guess it's for this month and then the live show is next month. I was reading it for that, but so I definitely, it's hard because it's like, I wouldn't recommend this book. I think that it's a really interesting book. Just know that personally, I struggle to connect with her actual writing. So for me, it's not a favorite, but part of why Jess and Angela picked this was because, you know, there's a lot going on with Russia and Ukraine these days. We'll talk more about that here in a minute with 2 other books. And there's a lot of people looking to like learn more about the history of that conflict. And I think that this is certainly an interesting book in that context, but I don't know that it's one that I loved. Though, oh, one other thing that I should say that I thought was really, maybe even the most interesting thing about this, one of the kind of questions the book is raising is like, what constitutes a genocide? I think that this is a really interesting use case to sort of think some of that through. In the strict definition that has been established, I think, by the UN since the end of World War II, I could see why you can make an argument that this was not a genocide. But in terms of what the aim of it was, how it was carried out, and sort of the legacy, does something have to meet a strict definition to be able to be considered in that same sort of magnitude of widespread targeted attack on a group of people with the aim of killing them? I mean, yeah. So anyway, it also, I just think, raised some interesting questions on that front that I was thinking about. So I have Problem from Hell by Samantha Power that I keep meaning to read. I really should get to that at some point because it's sort of about the question of genocide and how that arose in the 20th century, like a new understanding of that as a class of crime. Anyway, so that was one of the things that I finished. And then, sorry, I'm trying to find my spreadsheet to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah, okay, so then I've been trying to do some more palette cleansing. As I was mentioning, I did not do a great job of that earlier in the month, so I've been trying to course correct. So I read a few sci-fi romances. I read Wild Card by Susan Hayes. I had picked up this trilogy called The Drift by Susan Hayes for 99 cents at some point. So I was just reading those as sort of fill-in sci-fi romances. I don't know that I really like her writing and I like the world. I don't know that I've loved these stories that much, so I think I gave this one a 2.5. Like, it's fine, but not my favorite from her. I read Joan and the Juggernaut by Honey Phillips because I've been reading more and more in that series. A lot of them, though, do deal with there's a lot of sex trafficking and enslavement in that series. So I don't know. I mean, I like them, but I think I liked the more recent ones where that wasn't as much a part of the story, just because that's not necessarily, I don't want to dwell on that when I'm reading my sci-fi romance. So I don't know. That one was fine, but not like one of my favorites in the series. And then I Married a Minotaur. I don't know how I missed this coming out. Apparently it came out at the end of March and I just totally did not clock that. Loved it. My favorite in the series so far. We are going back to the same world as I Married a Birdman, and it's like the bad guys who are kind of like minotaurs, which I did not realize the first time I was reading that was what I was supposed to be picturing. But at the end of the I Married a Birdman, there was a change in leadership and there's a new dude coming in who we like more in terms of what he's trying to do with his group. And this is him getting his heroin. And so we get to go back and visit a lot of the people that we met in that first book. So that was fun because I really liked the world and I liked the setup, really enjoyed that. But it's from the point of view of this other group who have been the bad guys, and we're learning more about their culture and understanding why they do what they do and why they are the way they are. And I really like this one. I think this is the best in the series so far. So yeah, this one was great. There was more kind of conflict, I felt like, than some of the other ones have had, or I like the way the conflict was developed, maybe is the way to say it. And I really liked learning more about this group that she'd established and understanding kind of where they're coming from, because we knew from the first book that they have some sort of like biological urge to violence, and we learned more about that and how the new dude who is our hero in this one, how he is trying to reel all that in. So yeah, that one was great. I just want her to keep every animal, just make another I Married a whatever man. I married an octopus man. I married a frog man. Whatever, like just keep them coming, Regine. I'm here for them. So with that, let's transition and do things that I am currently reading. And I feel like I'm currently reading a lot of things. I've been a little all over the place. Before I forget, on the topic of the book Communal Read, I started but did not get through and therefore had to give back to the library. The Gates of Europe by Sergei Polisky, I want to say maybe is the author. You guys are seeing the cover. I really like this book a lot, and just life and timing happened, so that's why I didn't get through it, but I'm very much looking forward to getting back to it. It's very much just a history of Ukraine. And it's making me nostalgic, because when I was growing up, I really was obsessed with histories of England and France. So I would read those all the time, and it would start, like in the Roman times and then come up to present or whatever. And this kind of is taking the same approach, but with Ukraine. I kind of wish now that I had read this book before I read Red Famine, but that's just sort of the timing at the library, how it worked out. So anyway, but I'm really enjoying its approach to history, and it's reminding me how much I like full histories of a country, sort of just an overview. So really enjoying that. Depending on how long the wait to get it back at the library is, I may just go ahead and buy the audio myself and just keep going from there. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that one. What else am I in the middle of? I'm in the middle of Empire of Pain by Patrick Keefe. Very grim, but enjoying. You will see more of that in a vlog. So that is something I'm in progress on. I'm in progress on Wyoming Cowboy Ranger by Nicole Helm, because I am working on a mass market vlog where I am trying to get through all of the mass markets I own. I think I own about 15 of them. I may not read them all in that one vlog, but I don't really like owning mass markets, so I'm trying to make it a priority to get through them. And also this will force me to have some pacing. It's my other pacing strategy here, but yeah, this is just sort of it's a category, romantic suspense. I like Nicole Helm's writing. I've read other things from her, so yeah, this is fine so far. And then another nonfiction I'm in the middle of is Switched on Pop. I've just been kind of reading a chapter whenever I get in the mood, and basically every chapter is about a different song. And I picked this up because I really like this podcast, and I've also recently been rediscovering Todd in the Shadows, who is a great YouTube channel. I really love his Trainwrecker series, so I've just been thinking a lot about pop music recently, so I finally picked this one up. I'd gotten this probably about a year or two ago. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. It's just fun. I'm only reading the chapters where I've heard the song because, I don't know, I just feel like I have more of a perspective. But I didn't get the audio because I don't think it was available. But the physical copy does have illustrations and stuff in it. So it's kind of made it more worthwhile having it in physical form. So yeah, I'm in progress on that. And then in terms of what I might read next, I foresee myself reading more sci-fi romance, for sure. It's been just what I've been in the mood for the last couple of years, and definitely have been in the mood for recently, so I'm sure I will dig more into some random Honey Phillips or Regine Abel or Ruby Dixon or whatever. So I'm sure I will do that. I have 3 arcs that I hope I'm gonna read, especially once I have cooled off and am ready for another mystery thriller. I want to read Never Coming Home. I think the author is Kate Williams, which is a YA mystery isolated thriller where a bunch of influencers get lured to this island and murderousness ensues. It seems like a take on And Then There Were None, but YA version. I want to read The It Girl by Ruth Ware, which is her latest mystery thriller that's coming out in July. And then I just got an arc this week of, is it Ruby Fire? Whatever the next Ilona Andrews, it's Ruby something with flames. It's the final in their Hidden Legacy trilogy that is going on right now. Ooh! So I'm gonna wait until I have just a full, probably next weekend. I'll just dedicate a whole day to reading that sucker. I cannot wait. Ilona Andrews is just my favorite. And it's been a couple years since we've gotten a full release from them, so I am very, very excited for that. My earring escaped. What else am I gonna read? I grabbed just a random little stack of other things that I might read. Like I said, I'm working on reading through all of my mass markets that I own right now, so I expect that I'll probably pick up some Nora Roberts, which is good. I've not read that much Nora Roberts this year, though. She does have a new release coming out this month. I just remembered that. Okay, so I might read that, but I'll read some. Hopefully I'll get through some of the mass market Nora Roberts that I have. I have a book club that I don't think I'm gonna be in town for, but I bought this for the book club, so I'm still gonna read it. Yeah, Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, who has written some of my favorite books ever. So I'm hoping I'm gonna like this. We'll see. And then 2 nonfiction books, both of which are based on what's in the news. The third book based around Ukraine that I'm hoping I'll get to is The Ukrainian and Russian Notebooks, Life and Death Under Soviet Rule by Igor who is, I believe, a journalist in Italy, I think. But it is a graphic novel nonfiction situation, which is some of my favorite versions of nonfiction. So I'm excited to get to this, especially now that I have some, orientation to the history of Ukraine and Russia and the politics and the culture and all that. And then Life's Work, A Moral Argument for Choice by Dr. Willie Parker, who is an abortion care provider, and just given everything that has been going on in the US, this felt like the right time to pick this up. So I might read some of those. We'll see what happens. Oh yeah, Beyond Good and Evil. I should finish that. Me and Jess were doing a buddy read, and then she lost steam, and then I lost steam, but I should circle back around and finish that up. Yeah, so anyway, those are some of the things on my radar to read for the rest of the month. And now, if you don't care about housekeeping, love ya. See you later. If you do care about some housekeeping things, two things. One, I'm very excited to share that I think me and my friend Kim, who you guys saw in a Am I the Asshole video that we did together, Kim is one of my favorite people. We have been friends for nearly 10 years at this point. We met in grad school, and I have been in the mood to re-engage with more focusedly in some philosophy and some theology stuff. So because she and I have the same background educationally, we're also very similar culturally. We're both from Tennessee. We both grew up in sort of fundamentalistic evangelicalism, and she's just very wisdomous. You guys have seen that. I've asked her if she would consider doing some book clubbing with me where we're gonna read some philosophy together. We have definitely a different perspective on supernatural or spiritual things at this point, so I just think it will be an interesting experiment. So I'm calling it tentatively Philosophy Like Whoa. We're gonna start with a book called Sources of the Self by Charles Taylor, just because it's sort of a history of ideas, and it does a run through of a bunch of different philosophers, starting from sort of like pre-Greek up through today. And so we thought, I've read it before, she's not read it. I think it'll be interesting to reread it with my current outlook on the world. And we're hoping that will kind of help us decide what we would like to read after that. But I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but I imagine that being some sort of live stream. So if you are interested, I should show you the book. Sources of the Self, The Making of Modern Identity by Charles Taylor. I'm waiting for the book to get to Kim because I told her I would cover all of the books, and she lives in Canada, so it's making its way through customs right now. But sometime in the next couple of months, I think we are going to read this and then do a live stream. So I'm actually really excited. I think that this will be a very niche thing. I don't know that a lot of you are super interested in philosophy, but if you're interested in giving it a try, or you're just interested in hearing two gal pals talking about it, that is a new thing that will be coming up. The other housekeeping item is just that because we're coming into summer, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, and frankly, because I had this realization when I realized that I had 3 commentary videos in the works. The one that I thought I was gonna be able to do this month, I'm just not ready to do it, so I'm gonna have to reschedule. Anyway, I was looking at scheduling things, and I also realized that I'm gonna be gone for a chunk of time at the beginning of July, just life in general. I just wanted you to know that I've given myself permission to just do what I can do in terms of posting for the summer. My goal is still to get 2 videos out a week. That may not be possible, and if so, I'm gonna have grace on myself. I know you guys will have grace on me, but I just need to say these things out loud so that I give myself permission to unclench. My Virgo moon loves a schedule, loves sticking with a schedule, and so sometimes I just have to like make it explicit that I will not necessarily be following my normal schedule. Who knows? We very well may end up still with 2 videos a week. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that I'm giving myself permission to just do what I can do over the summer. So yeah, in these, it's not even a pandemic anymore, it's like endemic. In these endemic times, I definitely feel like during the spring and summer is the time to be out and about and enjoying life a little bit more outside of these 4 walls. You know, because I am an autoimmune baddie, I foresee myself kind of hunkering down in the fall and winter for this, foreseeable future. So until all of that calms down, it's like, okay, well, eat, drink, and be merry when the sun is out and case numbers are pretty reasonable. So I'm gonna try to give myself permission to not be as structured with the channel, though I am coming up on my 5 years, so I'll have to make a video for that. I definitely have things that I'm still working on and planning to do. I just, timing wise and other things happening in life wise, it may not always manifest itself in 2 videos a week. So we'll just see. Anyway, that will do it for me for today. Definitely let me know what you thought about any of the books that we talked about today. Let me know how your reading is going this May. And yeah, I think that that will do it for me. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, follow me on the social medias if you are so inclined. I have all that information listed in the description box below, and I think that that will do it. I hope you're having an absolutely lovely day today, and I will just talk to you soon. Bye!